let's get to it. O'Malley and Cheeto.
Yeah.
Is that the main event?
That's
Yeah,
the main
yeah.
event,
Do you remember the Cheeto fight with I think it was Dominic, where he was like doing a lot of high shell. He was shelling a lot, high guard for like the first and then he just started picking them apart.
Yeah.
High guard. And I just think O'Malley is really good at picking his shots and like really good accuracy. Like I wouldn't say he has a lot of power, but he's like really accurate. And I think it's only a matter of time before he loops one of those shots around that guard. And then, I mean, Cheeto's as tough as they come. So then, I don't really know how the fight's going to go from there. But I would be willing to bet at some point that O'Malley's going to rock Cheeto and then see how he responds, you know?
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking too.
Yeah.
Now, what do you think about your upcoming matchup yourself? How do you think you got how do you think you stand against Malkoun?
I think it's a great fight for me. I think that I'm better. My striking's better. I think that my grappling is better. I think my jiu-jitsu is proven better. I just think all around I think I would be surprised if I wasn't the favorite.
Yeah, absolutely. And with that being said, too, what do you think a win does for the rankings for you? Do you think you can crack the top 15 with a win here?
Yeah, I mean, my only loss came to Pereira on, super, super, super short notice. So I think that, I don't think that loss set me back too much. But yeah, I think a big fight would be next. If not like a Bo Nickel, then a top 15 guy.
When you take a fight in like super, super short notice like that, what's the difference? Like, are you still working out all the time versus obviously, when you're training for a fight, you got the camp and all that. But when you're hit up on very short notice, are you still in the gym every day? And
so it's interesting. When they called me, I was in Thailand. So I went to Thailand for 2.5 weeks was the plan. So I was training. I was going to the gym every morning.
Okay.
And then but I was still like there on vacation too. So I wasn't going to go to Thailand and not train. I wasn't going to go to Thailand and not train. So I was there to train, but I was also eating mad food, living in Thailand. I was living it up. So when they called me, I really had no interest in taking the fight, but they made it enticing enough. And my biggest issue for that was the weight cut, because I was when I got to Vegas on Monday, I was 24 pounds overweight.
Oh, man.
So I just had to cut all that weight after flying 28 hours from Thailand. It was that was the hardest part for me. Just not sleeping for days. Yeah, it was tough.
So what's up with Bo Nickel now? I know that's a guy you've been calling out a lot recently. Why isn't Bo Nickel calling you out at all?
I think he won. Well, it's interesting. This fight that he has now is the first wrestler that he's fought.
Right.
He hasn't fought any wrestlers yet. And not that Cody's a great wrestler or anything. We saw what Malkoun did to him, but nonetheless, he does have a wrestling pedigree. That was his first base was wrestling. So it's interesting to me because I thought for sure he was just going to handpick strikers that had no wrestling, and he was going to do that as long as possible. Kind of like the opposite of what or exactly what they did with Pereira, Alex Pereira. Just keep him away from any grapplers.
Right.
But the fact that he fought Cody tells me that I got to be somewhere down the line.
Yeah, absolutely. No, I definitely agree.
Yeah, whether it's the next fight or the one after that, to be determined. But if I keep winning and he keeps winning, like, everybody knows that I've called him out like a bunch of times. You know what I mean? Everyone knows that I've continued to say, like, I'm the best grappler in this division, and I continue to prove it. But if he wants to continue to dodge me, then that would just only take away from his legitimacy. You know what I mean? So, but there's other grapplers in the division, like Rodolfo Vieira got a big win a couple weeks ago.
Right.
He's a black belt world champion in jiu-jitsu. Like, those are the kind of matchups that really entice me. Mearshart was a big one for me, and Malkoon's another one. Malkoon has I don't know about anymore, but at one point he had the highest takedown ratio of any fighter in the UFC.
Right.
So per minute of fighting, per minute of ring time, he had the most takedowns. I think it was like 7.5 takedowns per 15 minutes.
Wow.
Like those are the type of matchups that entice me. Like, I've been a grappler my whole life, and my striking has come a long way, but I continue to make the argument that I'm the best grappler in the division, and that these matchups further cement that legacy.
Yeah, absolutely. Now, with your fight coming up, is there any extra pressure fighting at Atlantic City at all?
Yeah, there's always pressure fighting at home. You have to deal with like more bullshit, like people like ask you like, hey, I didn't get my ticket yet, or like, the ticket link is down, or do you know what hotel you're staying in? And it's like, dude, do you know how many people are asking me the same questions? Like, and it's just that you deal with that kind of stuff. And, most of the people, I love them dearly, but they just don't understand, like, I cannot be the coordinator for 350 people coming down to Atlantic City.
Yeah. No, yeah,
So,
that's definitely
so
too
that
much.
kind of stuff is like the downside of it. But the plus side is that, like, it is really like it is a blessing, like, to have an entire state or the whole tri-state area coming down to watch you do what you love to do. That's special. That's something, like, I was talking to these guys. We had a couple guys pull out or from our team that weren't able to be on the card, and I'm just like, it's just such a, like, the UFC coming to Atlantic City hasn't happened since, I think, 2018 or
Right.
2017 maybe.
Yeah, it's been a while.
Okay.
Nonetheless, like, whatever it is, like, that's 7, 8, 9 years. You know what I mean? Like, you don't know if you'll ever get that opportunity to compete for the UFC in your home city or in your home state. Like, that's such a special opportunity.
Yeah, 100%. And with your fight coming up as well too, how's your fight camp been? And what are some things you've been doing in your camp to get ready?
Everything's good, man. Just really just working on strategy for this fight, really working around what I'm good at, what he's good at, what he's not good at. Doing a lot of swimming, working on all my weaknesses, so yeah, I mean, it's been good. It's been good.
When you're preparing for a fight, do you catch yourself ever, would you say, like, doing too much tape on your opponent to the point when you're thinking too much versus like more just working on yourself and going in and kind of doing what you know?
No, I think in the beginning of camp, it's good. Like, the more tape you can watch and the more of his,
Like
the more of your opponent's, like, habits and
Yeah.
tendencies you can pick up, I think it'll only benefit you. Now, as we get down closer to the fight, we build our game plan and our style. We throw out the stuff that's not as useful for this opponent, but as we get closer to the fight, the focus becomes all on me. Like, what am I doing? What do I need to do? Less on the opponent,
Yeah.
But good question.
Now, when it comes to training, I know in the past we've done a couple seminars. When it comes to seminars, how do you like teaching them, and what are some things that you enjoy about teaching them in general?
teaching is like the the career of a martial artist. I've been very lucky. I've been competing in wrestling since I was 4 years old. I won my first wrestling tournament when I was 4, but my fighting career is going to be approaching 10 years now.
Wow.
But that is very rare. Like people, I'm very blessed, and it's very rare that people stay in the game for that long. You know what I mean?
100%.
So if you're going to be a career-long martial artist, right, like a lifelong martial artist, a majority of that time is going to be spent teaching. You know,
Yeah.
I would say more of that time is going to be spent teaching than it is actually competing. I might be able to compete until let's say I'm lucky, I compete till I'm 40 years old. What are you going to do from 40 to 70? You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah, 100%.
that you're going to, what am I going to do? Hang my black belt up and just give up? I'm not going back to normal life. You know what I mean?
Right.
So teaching is like, it's good and bad. It's some people are a pleasure to teach. Some people are awesome. Like, you show them a move one time and they do it.
Right.
I train this kid now in wrestling. His name's Sean Bradley. He wrestles at Shawnee, and man, he's awesome. Like, he's the easiest kid to teach. He's so coachable. He did jujitsu like his whole life, but this is only his second year of wrestling. And I'll show him a move, and literally on Monday he'll send me a video of him doing the move in his match.
Wow.
It's like,
Yeah.
everything I show him, he does it. Like, he doesn't have anything. He doesn't have like 10 years of someone teaching him other shit.
Right.
You know what I mean? All he has is the shit that I'm teaching him every Sunday, and that's what he does. And it's like, fuck, it's great. Like, it's such a pleasure. Some people are just, man, they're just so frustrating to teach. Like,
Yeah, absolutely.
it's just like, you tell them, reach with your right hand, and they bend over and touch their toes with their left hand. It's just like, some people, it takes patience, and that's where like good coaches come in, like good teachers. That's where they really come in. Henry Gracie and Brian Ortega really opened my eyes up to that, to like what makes like a really good teacher and what doesn't. Like, Brian will say this too, is like, Henry spoils you. Like, he's got an analogy that you won't forget for everything. Like, he's got an analogy that makes it stick in your head, and he's so enthusiastic that he really gets your attention. It's like, he's showing a move, and he's like, right here's my hand, and he's just always has a way of keeping your attention for like long periods of time. And back to the original question, is like, when you have kids that are harder to keep their attention, kids that aren't as focused, like, it's on you to be a better teacher to keep those kids' attention. Like, everybody wants to train the kid that came from a wrestling background, that already knows like how to wrestle and already knows like the fundamentals. They're athletic, they're tough, they know how to learn. Like, everybody wants that. Like, that's easy. But like, it's hard to teach kids that have no background in martial arts. It's hard to teach kids that like, have a really short attention span. Like, that's where good instructors come in. And I'm not that guy. You know what I mean? Yeah. Like, but that's the goal. That's the goal when it comes to teaching, is to be like on that level of Henner and Brian, and make this shit interesting. It's interesting. I used to teach an adult class on Friday. I taught an MMA class on Friday nights. And when I got back from LA, I told Eddie, like, my coach, I was like, I don't want to teach adults anymore. I want to teach the kids. And if you can teach kids, like I said, it's the same idea. Like, teaching adults is a lot easier than teaching kids. Adults will pay attention. They want to be there. Like, the adults are there because they want to be there.
Yes.
Some of them kids, like, they don't even want to be there. They're there because their parents made them. They're there because for whatever reason. So it's even harder to keep those kids' attention. But I mean, if you can teach kids, you can teach anyone. You know what I mean? So I went back. I want to be able to teach the kids. I want to be able to teach my kids first of all. You know what I mean? I want to be a better instructor for my kids. And yeah, that's it.
That's awesome. And I remember at World Class, it's a random question, but at World Class, you said you did something on your leg. It was like 5 or 4 chokes that you did on your leg, and you practiced it 500 times a day. I can't remember what the chokes were and how you did them, but like ever since that seminar, it's always been bugging me what they were and like kind of how you did them.
All right, so let me see if I can set this up.
All right.
So we got our legs.
All right, here we go.
All right, you ready?
Yeah, I'm ready.
This is guillotine.
Okay,
right?
there it
This is the blade of your arm. This is guillotine here.
Okay.
Right? I pull the grip through. There's my anaconda.
Okay.
All right, anaconda on the bicep. I switch my grip. I run it to the other side. There's my darce.
Okay.
Guillotine, pull it through, anaconda. Pull it through, darce. The only difference between an anaconda and a darce is the anaconda, the lock would be in your opponent's armpit.
Okay.
Right? The darce, this would be, the lock is on their neck.
Gotcha. Okay.
Darce, lock is on the neck. Anaconda, it's in their armpit.
Very nice. Okay. 500 times a day.
500 times a day.
That's awesome. No, it's been bugging me for the longest time. Ever since I did that one seminar, I was like, man, I can't remember how to do that. I want to practice it.
Yeah. Nah, that's a Henner Gracie drill.
Okay.
Yeah, that came from Henner too.
Now, do you keep in touch with those guys at all on the Ultimate Fighter?
Yeah, I was just out there couple months, like 2-3 months ago.
Okay.
Yeah.
Now on the Ultimate Fighter, do you guys get like any sort of like extra footage and stuff that they don't show on TV, like for you to keep?
No. There was this scene. That's a good question. There was a scene where Mitch Raposa, he had this like massive like cyst on his back.
Oh, geez. Okay.
Yeah, and it was like 3 days before his fight, and I popped it, and it was like you ever seen like Dr. Pimple Popper?
Yeah.
Like it was like the craziest scene ever. I like popped this pimple. I got zit juice just like flies into my beard, right? It's like hanging off my face in my beard. Everyone's going nuts, like, oh shit! Like the cameraman's like right there, like everyone goes ballistic. I'm like, and I fucking swan dive over the bench into the pool at the house. It was like the best scene ever. Like I was so sick that they didn't put this in the show. And afterwards, I hit up the producers and I was like, yo, you got to send me the pimple video. And they would not send it to me. Yeah. I don't know if it was like, I don't know. I didn't know if they were going to get in trouble or if it was like copyright, but they would not. I've asked twice and they never sent it to me.
That's hilarious. Wow. Yeah, I was always wondering if there was always like some bonus scenes that you guys got to keep or anything like that after the show. That's funny.
Yeah. Nah, there were some good ones. I don't know. Maybe my only thought is that they did that because they wanted to make it look like there was like a scene in the commercial that made it look like me and Mitch were like fighting.
Right.
Well, because we were like arguing, but we weren't like fighting.
Yeah.
But then they chopped up another video of us like wrestling. And they put the two together to make it look like the argument turned into a fight.
Right.
And I think that like me popping the pimple went against the narrative of like I had beef with this kid.
I gotcha. Okay.
So I don't know. That's the only thing I think of because otherwise, like that was like the best part of the whole show. Like the whole month was the best one.
No, that's awesome.
Were you ever like sketching out a little bit, knowing that you were on a reality TV show? Like pretty much the whole time, or
so you have a microphone on you like at all times, right? So even when you go to bed, you put the microphone next to your bed.
Oh wow.
Yeah, and the producers constantly come in if like let's say you get out of practice and you don't put your microphone on right away. That's what those necklaces are.
Oh, okay.
Oh,
yeah. A lot of people always are surprised when they hear that. The necklaces are a microphone.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Yeah. So if you don't put your necklace on like right after practice, like they'll come in and be like, hey, can you put your necklace on? Like they'll constantly do that to make sure. So long story short, you have a microphone on all the time. And like in the beginning, you're aware of that. Like the first week or two, you're like, all right, I gotta like, people are listening. Like,
Yeah.
I gotta watch what I say. But over time, you just start to get like really lackadaisical about it, and you start forgetting, and you start saying shit that like you do not want to be like. If you had a microphone on you 24/7, like there's some shit that you don't want people to hear you say.
Absolutely.
Like,
Yeah.
and you start forgetting, and they'll come out like a couple times they would come out and be like, yo, you got to keep in mind you have a microphone. And you're like, oh shit. But I mean, they were cool. Like they could have crucified a couple people, like crucified, and they're cool. They didn't throw anyone under the bus.
No, that's awesome. And
Yeah.
I guess what was your best experience from the Ultimate Fighter? Just I guess from the whole thing.
Probably training with Brian and Henner, just because like I had such a like I was like, Henry, like, would you ever come to Philly to do a seminar? And he was basically saying like, yeah, I would do it, but it would have to be $100 to $150 per person, and I would need like $100 or 100 people in each session. It would have to be 2 sessions. So like, yeah, basically like 30 grand
Wow.
for 2 sessions to do a seminar. He's like, that's like essentially that's what I get when I go places. And I was like, every day that I would go into practice, there would be like Henner would be there, and he'd be like, all right, like who wants to work and who has a fight coming up? And it'd be like, and I fought first. That was the very first fight. So I was like, I had the rest of the time on the show to be free. The rest of the guys were either 1, cutting weight, or 2, hurt. So every day Henner would come in and be like who wants to train? And be, oh, I'm on the treadmill today, or like, oh, I'm hurt, I'm not doing it. So then I'll be like, yeah. So I would literally get 2-hour privates with Henner, like
Wow.
every day.
Wow. Okay.
Every single day, I'm getting $30,000 worth of private training with Henner Gracie.
That's insane. Wow.
Like everything I do, like I did in my first like 4 fights from the front headlock series, was all from Henner. Like huge, like career changing technique. And like, dude, I don't care who it is. No one's keeping my attention for 2 hours. Like that's like I'm like the most ADD dude you'll ever meet. Like you got my attention for like 10 minutes and then I'm off. Like, and he's so good at teaching. He swills you so much that he would just get he taught me like everything. Like I'm not saying he taught me everything, but like I learned, that was my highlight of the trip, was get those privates with Henner. Just like invaluable information.
That's incredible. And
Yeah.
I guess one thing too I have for you is what's your like diet and stuff, and how are you, and like what's like some go-tos in the gym, I guess, how to get as big as you.
So I have a meal prep sponsor. It's called Performance Meal Prep. They're out of Philadelphia. They deliver all over the tri-state area, but they've been my sponsor for about 3 years. And they'll give me I get about 10 meals a week from them. And a lot of these I've tried a couple other meal preps. And like I don't know, like no matter what you get, it's gonna get old after a while. Like if you
Right.
eat the same shit over and over, it's gonna
Yeah.
get old. But like I genuinely just like this company's food because I know that they're like on with a big ass pot, like cooking the food themselves. Like I've had like other meal preps, like I don't know, Eat Clean Bro or whatever, and like the eggs are like microwaved, and it's like processed food, like with a plastic like seal on it, and it's just like I don't know, like that to me gets old way faster. Like I'd
Yeah.
rather eat like I know that my meals have no preservatives in them because if I get chicken, broccoli, and rice on Sunday, that's when my meals come, and I don't eat it by Friday, like the broccoli starts turning, like it'll start smelling a little bit, it'll turn brown, it'll go bad. And like
Right.
people are like, oh, like do you want your food going bad? It's like, yeah, I do. Cause then I know that they're not putting that bullshit in there that's like poisoning me. The preservatives that's the worst shit for you. Like that's what I don't want. So yeah, I have this meal prep sponsor. I can put one up right now. So like The meals are good, but I've done every meal I've been with them for 3 years, so I do. So this is one meal that I'll get now that I do a lot more often, and it's just a pound of grilled chicken.
Oh wow. Okay.
Yeah, so I'll get like I'll get 3 or 4 of these a week. This is grilled jerk chicken thighs by the pound. So I'll get
okay.
like one of this. I'll get another one of pulled pork. They have like apple cider pulled pork by the pound. I'll get like chipotle chicken. I'll get those, and then I'll just mix that. I'll throw that on the pan on the stove with rice and whatever I want to add to it. Like if I really have to watch my weight, I'll just do like, just that with maybe like a little bit of cheese or something. Or if I'm healthy, I can eat whatever I want. I can throw rice, potatoes, whatever I want in there. So I like that more so now than the actual meals. But they have burritos and shit.
Oh
They
wow.
they got everything.
Is that
Yeah.
all do you eat just that for the day?
So I usually fast until after the morning session. So I'll go to practice at 10 o'clock in the morning. I might not eat my first meal until 2 o'clock. If I practice from 10 to 12, I shower, I drive home, it's 1 o'clock, 1:30. I might not eat that first meal till 2. So that my first meal is usually always the meal prep.
Are you just drinking water all before that, or do you
Coffee, water? Yeah, I might have like something really small just so like my blood pressures or blood sugar's not like super low. Like maybe like a handful of berries or something.
Yeah, okay.
But I usually don't eat that first meal until after that morning session.
Gotcha. And
that helps me lose a lot of weight too.
Okay.
Gotcha. And Andre, we're running out of time here. I got one last question for you before the Zoom kicks us off here. I teach about 150 students over at Premier Martial Arts, and they're all just trying to grind to get their black belt one day. Do you have any advice for them to try and strive and get better every day?
Like for me, I've just made it my life. You know what I mean? Like my friends are my friends from the gym. You know what I mean? My house is the closest house to the gym. Like everything I do is just I built my life around the gym.
Right.
You know what I mean? So if you if you do it that way, like I'm not leaving the gym. You know what I mean? Like where am I gonna go? Where's my friends? Like who am I gonna be? Like everything in my life is built around. So like the more you build your life around the gym, like and you just stick with it, like good things happen.
Yeah, no, 100%. Andre, man, thank you so much for coming on. I guess last message before you leave. Is there any last thing for the fans that are watching this podcast? Definitely
tune in March 30th. We got there's 3 guys from Philly on the card: me, Bill Algio, and Nursultan Ruzibayev, one of my teammates from Uzbekistan. So it's going to be a good card. Everybody should tune in. If you didn't get tickets and you're local, come down. We got an after party at this bar called Bull Shots.
Okay.
Right next door. It's right next door. So yeah, come on by.
Awesome. Good to know, man. Andre, thank you so much for the interview, man. We really appreciate you coming on, and good luck in your fight coming up, man.
Yep.
Thank you, brother. Have a good one.
Okay.
Yeah, man. You too. Thanks so much. All right, man. See you later.